Hey guys, so in the previous video we quickly saw that like when we are running a test case on a pull request, we want to run few test cases, but when we are running a test on a march to main branch or even on a schedule, you want to run all the test cases. There are many more practical situations that can happen, and what we saw was like in this particular case, the easiest solution was to just duplicate code, but that was also one of the worst cases, right? Because there's so much code duplication going on here. So in this video, what we're going to do is we are first going to see how we can um, extract out the common code in a template workflow, right? And then we're going to see we are even going to create new different kind of triggers, and we're going to see that how we can minimize code duplication, how we can increase code readability by creating reusable GitHub workflows, right? So if you want to do it, like the easiest way you can do it is if you go to internet and if you just search for GitHub reusable workflows, you get docs.github.com, you click on reusable workflows. They have given this nice documentation here, and if we like build it from the scratch, like if you really want to see how we can build it from the scratch, it's simple. It says you have to create a file inside GitHub workflows, and then if you have this event on workflow call, that is needed to make a workflow as a reusable workflow. So let's just go ahead and do that. And they also said like how you can specify your inputs, how you can specify your secrets, how you can call these workflows. And I think here they have given examples of calling the workflow, and here they have given an example of a reusable workflow. So let's just go ahead and copy paste this, and we'll customize it for our own needs, right? So let's copy this and create a workflow. So new file, run test template dot YAML file, and we are going to basically copy the reusable workflow template, right? Let's just call it the same, reusable workflow template to run tests. And yeah, we can even keep it the same name. So reusable workflow, no spaces, in case if you want to use it in GitHub with Shields IO, right, on workflow call. And then the important question is you have to basically decide your inputs. But first of all, before we address this, let's just go ahead and look into what's happening here. So we have a job name runs on the machine, and then we specify some steps, and then we are using certain things with certain input variables, like it's specifying input dot config path secrets dot token. So let's just go ahead and copy this job, right, the whole thing from here to run test template, and let's just control V. Let's comment this code out for now. We will only refer it to see how we can refer the environment variables, but nothing else. And then we have to see like what's changing between these two workflows. So trigger is something that we will specify in our caller workflows, right? And this remains the same. Checkout of repository remains the same. Setting up of JDK remains the same. Caching remains the same. Unlocking secrets remains the same. We just need to pass our secrets. And the only thing that changes at this moment is the test that we exclude, the test that we include, right? The test that we exclude also remains the same. But it can happen that maybe in another scenario, you want to exclude different kind of test. So these are really the only two input parameters that changes, right? So what we can do is we can have two inputs, and we can say test to include, and in fact we can even make it more explicit, tags of test to include, and you can have another input variable which is also required, and we can make it as remove this tags of test to exclude, right? And we are not going to pass any specific secrets one by one. We are going to inherit the secrets, right? So I'm going to remove the secrets. Maybe yeah, I think we don't need this. So I'm going to comment this for now. So tags of test to include and tags of test to exclude. And at this moment, I don't know if it also allows to give some default value. Default, it does. So let's see if we can pass flaky and failing as the default value, and in group. So then let's reuse let's take an example of what's specified here. For inputs, we can specify it like this. So let's just copy paste it here, and instead of saying config path, these are the tests to exclude, tags of test to exclude. So in fact the default goes here, right? And let's see, maybe this becomes false, this becomes mandatory true. Okay, let's also pass on this value here, test to include, and with this we have a reusable workflow, right? We are taking inputs on tags to exclude, tags of test to include, and this should work. So let's just go ahead and go back to the document. So not this. It says to call this workflow, the only thing that we need to do is we have to specify the name of the job and what does it uses, right? And with what parameters. So, and I think we're not going to specify environment variables one by one. We're going to inherit the parameters. So let's just, copy paste this. And maybe let's create a new test the um, call, let's call it just call call tests on pull request, right? YAML, and let's specify this. And in fact, why not take a risk, right? Like, why not just try it out here? So let's just copy this. Let's comment some code, jobs, call workflow, passing data. Let's just call it as call test. Call test on a pull request, right? And we are using dot call test on pull. No, we're using the run test template. Run test template.yaml, and the parameters are tags of test to include. Let's just pass that parameter as a smoke test, right? That's the test that we want to run. Secrets should be inherited, and then we do not want to, we are going to comment all this code and even give run test on pull request, run test on a pull request, right? And if this works, then we know that we have a reusable workflow that works. So let's delete this. Delete, and we now have a template. I'm not changing anything in the main yet. I'm only changing something in the caller script for pull request, and let's just call it trigger test on pull request. So let's just rename this, refactor, rename, trigger test on pull request. And let's go back, Windows 1. Let's go to terminal, and let's do a git branch. Let's git checkout branch, refactor reusable workflow, git branch. Let's just commit this code, Windows 3. Yeah, renamed files, reusable workflow template. Okay, I'm going to commit this, add reusable workflow. And by the way, it currently contains a lot of commented code, which we are going to remove, before you merge it to main. But this is just to try stuff out, right? So let's go to Windows 1 again. Windows 2, refresh. Okay, this is good. We have a run test template. We have a test the tester on pull request, which is gone. Okay, I think I deleted the main one, but that is fine. I know what changes there, right? So we'll fix it. For now, it uses run test template. Secrets are inherited. Tags are test include our smoke test. Everything looks okay to me. And if this works fine, the CI should have already triggered. So let's see. Delete unwanted file. It failed. So something went wrong. And it says no version specified. Okay. Do I have to specify a version for the workflows that are specified inside? I didn't thought so, but nonetheless, like when the workflow is inside the local repository, you don't have to specify the version. But maybe I did not specify it correctly. So let's go back, Windows 1. Yes, I made a mistake, right? So I have to specify .github workflows, and then the workflow file name should come. So this is correct. So Windows 3, corrected path, save changes. Okay, let's go back to the actions. This time it is running. Let's see what's going on. It's calling the test on a pull request. It's calling the run test workflow. And as you can see, it's doing the job. It should only run one test case because it's on pull request. And it failed here. Flaky failing, degroups smoke, process completed. Flaky failing, degroups. Okay. I think this needed to be in either in quotes or with comma. So let's just go ahead and fix it one more time. Run test template. Let's make it as flaky dash failing. Windows 3. Add this. And a comma instead of or. Save changes. And let's run again. Windows 2. Actions. And let's see. Okay. We again have the same problem. Unknown life cycle failing. Yeah, there's a space that's here. Why did the space came? Oh yeah, because I provided the space. Cool. So this is all good troubleshooting. So no problem. Remove space. Sync changes. Okay, let's go back. Windows 2. And I think this time it should work. And if it does, we will quickly create another file for that, merge and main. So let's see. And if it works, it should only run one test case, the smoke test case, and it should exclude everything else. One test case, pretty good. That's exactly what we want, right? Test run 1, failure 0, error 0. So this one seems to have worked very well. So if we go back, Windows 1, now we need to test the test run must to main file. We can also change this one, right? So we have a template. The template works fine. So we can remove all these unnecessary commented code. It's not necessary anymore. We can also remove all this commented code from here, not needed anymore. And we can convert this test the test run merge to main to also do something like this. So let's just go ahead, copy this and add it here. Comment the whole thing and rename this as well. Refactor rename. Trigger test on merge to main. Okay. So, and we can remove all this duplicate code, only keep the trigger, and even give a meaningful name to this trigger. Run test on merge to main. Call test on a merge to main, or like this. Call test on merge to main. Run test template. And this time, when our pull request is getting merged to main, then we don't just want to run the smoke test, we want to run all the test cases, right? And as you remember, with include, if you pass nothing, it runs all the test cases. A little bit non-intuitive, but that's how it works. So let's go back, rename the file, commit, yeah, remove comments. Remove all this duplicate code, which by the way, in a real project, like here it is only few lines of code, but in a real project, you will be archiving your reports, you'll be doing a lot of other stuff, and this code will grow before you know. So then you will see the real benefit of reusable GitHub workflows. Okay, add this, remove. Okay, clean up and add trigger for merge to main as well, right? And this one. So I've pushed the code. Let's go back and see what has happened. So refactor reusable workflow. At this moment, it's only triggering one call test on a pull request, which is exactly what you want. You already know that this works fine. So the moment we merge this pull request, we will see a new action where we expect to run all our tests to run, which should be 11 in number. So here it should be 1. And once we merge the pull request, everything looks good to me in the pull request. So let's see, remove this 2 previous workflows, edit these to new, and let's just go ahead and enable confirm auto merge. Yeah, and this is a problem. Like now when we have refactored this, this does not exist anymore, right? So we have to fix our workflow. Otherwise, it will not allow us to, merge this PR. So let's just go to setting. Let's see what is the name of. Let's see what is the name of our workflow. So the job that you want to run is call test merge main. Let's go to settings, branches, edit, remove this one. Let's just call it as, call test. I think that's the one, call test on a pull request, because that's the only one that has run yet, and that's the only one that we need, for us to be able to merge a pull request. Save changes, and now if I go back to my PR, the PR is closed. And now if you go back to actions, now it's triggering another workflow. So one workflow was triggered on pull request, and another workflow is now triggered on merge to main, which is exactly what we want. And if it runs all the 11 test cases, then we know that everything is good. So you see, dgroups is nothing. Let's see. Pretty cool. As you can see, it ran 11 test cases, excluded the flaky and failing one, included the smoke one. I was a little bit concerned, when I saw this empty thing. So maybe I would find a way to, also add quotes to it, just to be sure. But for now, this seems to be working fine. So I hope you learned like how to create reusable workflows. Currently, we have only seen two situations, like merging with main, you want to run all the test cases. On pull request, you want to only run smoke test cases. But there could be much more use cases, that can happen. To give an example, when we want to run our test based on a dependent microservice, and if you have, let's say, 10, 20 microservices, if you only want to run, or if you only want to trigger those tests, for that particular microservice, we would like to pass that information from an upstream job to a downstream job. And that's a completely different workflow. Other use case could be, like for now, we are running our test on a specific environment. It could be developer staging. But if you want to trigger your test manually on a specific environment, you may also want to change the test environment variable, right? Like the use case are many more. So maybe in the next video, I can show you how we can create more triggers, like trigger on a schedule, trigger on, trigger on a manual trigger based on an upstream job. And then we could see how having a reusable workflow makes it much more, easier for us to work with. So I hope you learned something. new and interesting in this video. Well, if you like my videos, well, please subscribe to my channel, and I look forward to see you guys in another video. See you. Cheers. Bye bye.